Straight vodka? Good Lord.
Dude, home brewed, straight out of the fridge.
Moonshine. We are hold the friggin' Mayo, and we are back. I better
Dude,
remember. I'm taking off
finally.
my glasses. Yeah, it was supposed to be 2 weeks off because of for my travel. Sammy needed an extra week because I think he drinks a lot. He just showed that to us with
Yeah. No, last week. Why didn't we do it last week?
You said last week you had a
I,
happy
I
hour.
know. No, happy hour was last night. Why didn't we do it last week? Or yeah.
Oh no, or dinner you got roped into. You said something like that.
Yeah. Had a dinner. Wife set up a dinner with some friends.
Yeah, I'll remember everything that you're supposed to be remembering. That's what I get paid for.
It happens when you get old. I'm a few years ahead of you. Trust me, it's coming.
Yeah. Yes, but we're back and we have stuff to talk about. I was in Colombia for 2 weeks. Sammy was in Texas his whole life. I don't know if you've ever been outside of Texas. And I'm back.
I've
We
been to
took an
Florida.
extra week, and now we're back to talk about Colombia. We're going to talk a little bit about the movies because we love the movies. And what's the third thing we're going to talk about? Comicon. We got a big Comicon convention coming up.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
We took 2 weeks off because I was traveling to Colombia for my daughter's quinceañera, and I keep saying it wrong. It's Colombia. So we traveled to Colombia for my daughter's quinceañera. It's the traditional Latin X celebration for girls when they turn 15. In the United States and other countries, they do it at 16. But I still think the quinceañera is a level beyond what we do in the United States for 16-year-olds, because it's almost like, I'm going to say
more cultural.
It's more cultural. It's almost like a dry run, kind of like practice run for our wedding almost. Like it is a big event. Big event. So I'll put the number up on the screen. I'm not going to say the word, but this is the approximate estimated $15,000 that we spent on this birthday party. I think I said that.
Gosh, dude.
We rented a dance hall. My daughter had a dress. You've seen some of these pictures.
How much you pay for the dress?
We didn't buy the dress because it wouldn't make sense to buy a dress like this. So we went to my wife actually had to take a separate trip a couple months ago with my daughter to Colombia to scope out the location where it was going to be, because she went to like 3 or 4 different spots to find the right dress. And what we ended up doing was we ended up renting the dress from like a professional like dress shop where they rent the dresses, because it really would be completely impractical. She would never wear it ever again. No. It's one of those dresses that have the big like bell at the bottom. I'll put it in the picture there. And it weighs roughly 20 pounds. It has an inside part. It has the outside part. It is a very, very big, heavy dress. But we rented it because
she looked beautiful. She looked beautiful.
Thank you.
I'll give you that. Y'all did a good job.
Yes, my wife did a good job.
You did a good job paying. She did a good job everything.
Yeah. So we had the party, and then we all went on a couple of different, I guess we want to call them excursions. We went to Pablo Escobar's old finca. It's called the Hacienda Nápoles, is what he called it. He owns, it has to be at least 500 acres, maybe more, land. I'm
sure he did.
Oh yeah. After he was executed or killed, whatever, by the Colombian government for his atrocities, the government took over that land. They built a little water park on it. They have a zoo. It's a big attraction now, all in not in the name of Escobar, but they have a Pablo Escobar little miniature museum inside the place.
They have samples at the end, little gift shop.
Yes, they got a gift shop. I had a shirt I had on earlier, but I got it all sweaty because I was at the baseball field. It says like the name of the park and whatever, It cost $6 for this T-shirt inside the park. Imagine trying to buy a T-shirt in Disney World. What are you going to pay? $40?
35, $40. Yeah. Trust me, I got way too many of them.
Yep. No, I bought them too. But $6 was this souvenir shirt, some other stuff there. So we went there. After the party, we also went to we took like a group tour, right? And I would only suggest this in the means of if you're going to do it, if you ever do it, Sammy, you should, because you have a passport.
I do. I do
You
have a passport.
you buy like a group tour. So we got on like a mini bus, had like 35 people or so. We drove 6 hours. It'd be
Oh,
six
good
hours
call.
nonstop, but we drove. It was actually like a 9 hour trip. We drove south to the area called El Cafetero. So the Cafetero is basically where they grow a lot of coffee, right? The Colombian coffee that Colombia is the product that Colombia is famous for, coffee.
Yeah, that's all it's famous for. It's not famous for any other thing. Nothing
No,
else
nothing,
comes out
nothing.
of Colombia.
Yeah, Colombia. Anyways, so when we were there, we went to two different places, actually three different places that we went to. There, and I forget the name of the place, but there's a natural water. I guess all waterfalls are natural. There's a waterfall coming out of the mountain. So we stopped there for a few hours at the waterfall. Immediately right next to the waterfall, there's a hot spring where the water comes out of the earth at like 105 degrees, and people
That's
like
cool.
just jump into it, just kind of like soak it up. It's supposed to be really good for you, like from a health standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't do it because when we were there, unfortunately, it was raining and it was a thunderstorm essentially. But the people just didn't give a crap. Like that pool was full of people. From Florida, I know better. I'm not doing it. So I
Right.
stayed out of it. But it's super beautiful. I got pictures of that. I'll put them on the screen there for you.
Yeah, I want to see those.
Then from there, the next day we went to a park called Panaca, and basically this park is like part zoo, part like storytelling, but the whole theme of it, I said part zoo, it's part farm and part zoo. The whole theme or the idea is without farms, there could never be cities, right? So they kind of like there's an ecosystem type of thought there, and they showed like how the cows are raised and taken care of, how they had like a horse show, sort of like dancing horses, right? Dancing salsa and whatever. Dog show, they had a comedy show. It was a pretty cool park. I think we probably paid like $15 to get in, if even that much. Then the next day we went to Parque de Café, and basically what that is, cafe is coffee. So it's a coffee themed park, but it doesn't hold a candle to Disney parks, right?
Right. Sure,
Nobody
of
does.
course.
But there's a park in Orlando that you might have seen or gone to called Fun Spot, where it has like roller
Yeah.
coasters and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
I've
more
seen it.
amusement park, like a carnival theme,
Right.
like that type of park.
Right.
So they
I've seen
had
it.
their roller coasters, they had the bumper boats, they had a train that went through the whole thing, a steam train. So it was a pretty cool park to go hang out with the parents and my daughter for the day. Um, and just enjoy it. It was very nice. And everything is super cheap. I think I showed you guys a picture, and I'll put that up as well. We had breakfast at
Yeah.
the park one day. It was just like going to Starbucks. I had two cinnamon rolls. My daughter had a donut. My dad had like a giant slice of pound cake. We all had some beverage, and it was like $8. Is what it turned out to be.
Dude, I need to retire there. Good
Yeah,
gosh.
right. I mean, you go there. It's not so it kind of like gets like the bad rap, like the bad stereotype where you see like, oh, it's a black person, he's gonna be shooting people and selling drugs, like that type of stereotype. But Colombia has it's just like any other place. It has just as much beautiful as it does ugly.
Sure.
So
Sure.
you go to the beautiful spots and it's absolutely amazing. And you can live there for pennies on the dollar compared to like being here, which is why it's a great like I love, times I've been there, I've feasted and eaten like a king for pennies on the dollar.
See, that's the deal is, yeah, obviously it's much more affordable, but when I think of Colombia, first thing I think of is coffee for sure. In my mind, I picture jungles. In my head, I don't see urban areas or city areas. I think of like urban wise, is it developed or is it kind of run down?
It's absolutely 100% developed. I wouldn't say it's as beautiful as like Manhattan because I absolutely love going to Manhattan.
Yeah, Manhattan's awesome.
It's like a micro version of New York City though.
Okay.
It's all built the area we were in. So we were in Medellin, right? Medellin, just like any other major metropolitan city, has smaller like little cities around it, right? Same thing here. Even the smaller cities, though, they're kind of like back in maybe in older times, but everything's built up. All the roads are paved. Everybody has Wi-Fi, internet, cell phone service, like all that stuff. It's not a third world country. That's not even a real term anymore. But I think you have like in your head third world country, but
Well,
that's not the
so
case.
so a few years or a couple of years ago, we went on a cruise, and we one of our ports was Progreso in the Yucatan,
Mhm.
and it was just it was beautiful. Is the one maybe the favorite location I'd actually ever been to, the favorite excursion I've done, but trash on the side of the road because they don't really have a landfill or anything. The roads are kind of paved, kind of not, and it's very poor and run down. And I'd never been to Colombia, never been to Central America really, other than the Yucatan. And so when I hear that, I think of either the waterfalls and the jungles and the forests and stuff, or kind of a rundown, half developed urban area.
Yeah,
That's just
no,
kind of what I see in my
th-
head.
yeah, and that's absolutely not what it is, and that's unfortunate and it just people kind of get stuck with that thought of what it is.
Yeah.
But case in point to me is and I don't know population wise. I probably have to look it up. There's I think in the city, probably like 3 or 4 million people in like the quote unquote city, um, of Medellin and surrounding areas, but
Okay.
there are, and I wish I could look this one up, but it's probably not a stat that's out there. But I know for a fact, um, there are easily 10 huge malls in that area. And when I say huge, I'm talking about multi-level, like 4, 5, or 6 levels with stores and a lot of American like brands like you see like in the American malls are in these malls,
Yeah.
right? So you'll see like your Tommy Hilfiger or your Abercrombie, whatever, and Fitch. I can't even say it.
Easy to say.
Yeah, yeah. But you'll see those, and you also see them, next to like the Colombian um stores, and a lot of the products in Colombia, for like in the Colombian name brands, they're like they would say made in Colombia. It's on the tags. It's on the shirt that I bought, made in Colombia. So they have malls, and to me, that's an indicator of how healthy an economy is, even though they have a
Right.
strange uh, they have some strange things that I'll mention in a second. But if you have malls and you don't have Dollar Trees, right? That
Right.
means that your economy is healthy because stuff in malls generally cost more. So people have to have the money to buy it. Otherwise the mall wouldn't be there, would go out of business. Right?
There's like the Tommy stores and stuff like that. What's the price comparison to here?
I would say when you get into an area like that, it's a little closer to one to one, 1 to 1. It's not exactly 1 to 1. Like I can go there and probably buy a shirt. Um, might be like 20% less, 30%
Okay.
less after like the exchange.
Okay.
Um, I took economics. There's the rule of one price. I don't know if you've heard that. It's not perfect. So like and they have McDonald's and Papa John's and like actual restaurant, like our restaurants over there too. But like a Big Mac meal at McDonald's in Colombia might translate to like $5. Where here, and I bitched it to you several times, bitched about it. It's like 10 or $11 here,
Right.
right? It's ridiculous.
Right.
But it's still kind of like they have everything, right? One thing they don't have that I will warn you, and I think I told you about it a little bit earlier, was if you have to go to a public restroom, be prepared to pay. It's not a lot. They'll ask for 1,000 pesos, which is like a quarter, but the toilets don't have toilet seats. And to me, and I think to
Excuse
you
me.
and a
What?
lot of people, the toilets do not have toilet seats.
Oh no. Oh no no no.
Yeah,
Oh no 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 no.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my god.
So that was a challenge because if you have to go in public, you're going to have to learn to hover and get a workout on those
What
quads,
about
get them prepped.
the splash effect? Poseidon's kiss,
Yeah,
man.
I don't know. That's a good question. I didn't have to deal with it so much. I think my Airbnb for whatever reason did not have a toilet seat in like the general bathroom. The
Yeah.
bathroom that my parents had for their room had a toilet seat. But the toilet didn't have a lot of. It was like one of those toilets that has a little bit of water in it, not like a whole gallon of water. So I lucked out. That did not
So
happen
I
to
could
me.
open a kiosk out there selling portable toilet seats for tourists coming in, and I could make a killing.
Be kind of gross, but I guess you could, yeah.
They're just reusable or not reusable, just a portable seat. 10 for $5. Just
Yeah,
something,
I
just
mean,
little almost cardboard inserts just to sit your butt on,
Sammy,
dude.
hey,
Make a
there are a
killing.
million ways to make money. That sounds like a good one for you to
Could
try
make a
out.
crap ton of money.
Yeah, crap ton. Yeah,
Oh my
absolutely.
gosh, dude.
But yeah, man, I highly recommend if you ever have the
Yeah.
cojones to leave this country, take a trip, try Medellin. If you know somebody there, if not, try Cartagena. Cartagena is a lot um, it's a lot like Miami almost. I went there once. Shortly after I got married, it was like a little mini honeymoon, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Miami
Dude,
slash
that's
Puerto
awesome.
Rico combines.
That's awesome. I've been to Puerto Rico. Went there on
Okay.
our honeymoon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
it's not. So it's just like I said, everything has beautiful, everything has ugly. If you stay in the touristy part,
Right.
beautiful, beautiful as
Yeah.
far as
Yeah.
as I can see. If you travel
Are,
inland, like 2 or 3 miles, it might get kind of shitty, right?
are
But yeah, that's how
are
everything is.
are the roads really thin like in Puerto Rico?
Only if you're in the mountains.
Okay.
And the mountains are not everywhere. The city is in like a basin area where there's you can only see the mountains around the outside of the
Right.
city.
Right.
Which is interesting for when the plane lands because the plane has to do kind of like a circle and like almost like it's doing like a staircase going down. It can't just land because there's not enough room for it to just land because it has to go over the mountain and down.
They could do the Top Gun thing, like Top Gun Maverick, where they come up and then just zip on down.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody on board will love that one.
Well,
Cool.
go
So that
Tom
was my
Cruise.
update, man. That was Colombia.
Colombia, dude, that's
And
awesome. That's a cool
yeah,
story.
and we're gonna move on to something a little more amazing for some of our viewers, I think. We're gonna talk about the movies, and for me, it's Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, and some other things, and we'll touch on that
Cool.
in just a moment. Be right
Cool.
back. Hold the mail.
More and more people are waking up to Juan Valdez and his 100% Colombian coffee. And so can you.
Buenos días.
Just look for Juan on the label when you're shopping. You can't miss him. 100% Colombian coffee. The richest coffee in the world.
And we're back. So with Hold the Mayo. So that was a cool Colombia story, but Colombia's over now. Time to move on to cool things.
Yeah.
American things, spidery things, animated things. You went to go see what is it? Across the Spider-Verse?
Yeah. So the sequel is called
Across
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Across the Spider-Verse. So in our chat, you said you were raving about it, and you're about to now. I saw it, and it was good. Not I saw Into the Spider-Verse, the first one. It was good. I don't understand the hype around it. It's like, okay, that's cool. The animation style was neat, but yeah. So what tell us about it. Give us your Daniel Gutierrez review.
So here's a Daniel Gutierrez review that I will share with everyone watching, including you, Sammy, because you're my buddy. So just to level set, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse just came out last week. I like looking at IMDb. On IMDb, it has a rating of 9.0. If you compare that to other movies that have been out longer, but still, like Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity, whatever movie it was called, I don't remember anymore. Those movies are
Infinity War.
actually ranked lower right now than where Spider-Man is ranked. Those are like 8.4s or something. Spider-Man may not have the same earning potential because it didn't have the same amount of gigantic, um, it didn't have the same like train, locomotive that was driving it. So it
Right.
is a little bit niche, I would say. but still, I think it hits on a lot of different emotional chords for me for a couple of different reasons. And if you saw the first one, if you haven't seen the first one, shame on you. It's worth a watch. You said you saw it.
That's why it was good. It was good. It was good.
It is good. And for me, the first one was really, really good. Actually, I would say it's just a hair better than this sequel, but only by by the tiniest little margins. Only because I think for me it was more fresh, right? But regardless, what you see in these two movies and the story is a Spider-Man that was never supposed to be Spider-Man. It happened by accident, which is what happened in the first one, but because Peter Parker becomes Spider-Man by accident. But what drives the theme of like he's not supposed to be Spider-Man is that when they incorporate all the other Spider-Men from their universes, they were supposed to be the Spider-Man. They are the only Spider-Man in their universe. And Miles Morales is the second Spider-Man, which you saw in the original in the first movie. He's the second Spider-Man in his universe. And because he is born as Spider-Man, Peter Parker, spoiler alert, Peter Parker dies. That Spider-Man dies in Miles Morales' universe. And why it hits home for me a little bit differently than the Peter Parker story, which still kind of gets me a little bit because I remember growing up in high school, like I wasn't the most popular kid, that type of thing, where you kind of not get I don't think I was bullied, but it's just like I had friction with a lot of people just because they didn't like me for whatever reason, right? So similar to Peter Parker, right? But then what happens when you do it with Miles Morales is that you incorporate a little bit more of it opens the door a little bit more for people of different like ethnic and cultural backgrounds, because he's not just a white dude. He's half Puerto Rican and he's half black. So it hits a little bit differently, I think, for me, because I feel a little more drawn to that character because of that, and his struggles that he sees, which is different from what Peter Parker struggled with than just straight up Peter Parker's struggle. So I think that's a big part of it. The storyline is amazing because it also incorporates a lot of I don't want to say that he is head over heels, but he has like feelings for another character in the movie, right? That's a female character, and they kind of play on like they draw on that a little bit, and everything just works so well. The way they incorporate the story, it doesn't feel like there's any hiccups in anything from beginning to end, at all, and how they incorporate in this one, how they incorporate 1,000 other Spider-Men into the thing, and it feels like almost all of them have some type of line or interaction or contribution to the movie. They're not just like background characters, like how when we saw The Matrix and Agent Smith multiplies himself a million times. There's like a million background Smiths. They have really nothing to do with the movie, but they're there. In this movie, it feels like every Spider-Man that you see is contributing to the story, which I think is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
That's interesting. All right, dude, you sold me.
Yeah, go watch it, man.
Seriously. So, in all seriousness, you bring up a topic. Maybe we'll save it for next week because it's a much longer topic. But I want to get into representation in movies and shows and media, because I come from a obviously very different background than you do, and I rag on you for being the whitest Mexican I know.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, Josh also calls me the white Hispanic because I did grow up in an area that we call BVL, which now is heavy Puerto Rican Hispanic, to the point where the Publix changed its name from just Publix to like, I don't know what it was, something with like some Spanish words on it. But when I was there, it wasn't like that. It was more heavy. It was Kissimmee. It was heavy, just like white American.
Right.
So I'm kind of a hybrid.
Right. Well, but still, you go to Colombia, you do the quinceañera. I can't say that word, quinceañera.
Got it.
That culture obviously much more than I ever would, but it might actually turn into a fairly serious conversation. Just because I want to probe and I want to learn as a white guy about some things I've never even probably talked to you about, even in the chat. So maybe we'll say that for next week.
Yeah,
But
yeah, we can definitely do that.
we'll talk about that next week. I think that's going to be a fascinating one to me, quite honestly.
Yeah,
There's a lot of directions that can go.
for sure.
So the last movie I saw was Fast X. Dude, dude, no. You remember how much I raved about John Wick?
Uh-huh.
Fast X was almost as good.
Yeah,
Man, yeah, it's cheesy fun, absolutely over the top, lots of diversity and inclusion of everybody. But man, Jason Momoa, he never moved the needle for me one way or the other. I liked him as Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones, and okay, fine, whatever. He's Aquaman, didn't really do anything for me. Always kind of honestly weirded me out. He's just so weird looking to me. I know a lot of women dig him. He's just kind of weird looking to me. But he abso-freaking-lutely steals this movie.
yeah.
And when you've got a movie with Vin Diesel and Tyrese Gibbs and just all these people, Charlize Theron and Jason Statham and all these crazy people,
Paul Walker.
and yes, there's a spoiler at the end where The Rock comes back. So stay for the dude. It's so awesome. I literally teared up. I cried. I teared up just a little bit.
Okay.
This is like the first conversation of like 3 conversations that leads to you being gay.
I've only watched Fast and Furious Part 1.
Yeah.
I tried to watch Part 2. I said, this is absolutely horrendous. This is stupid. And they just go so ridiculous, like into like it becomes sci-fi.
But
like,
it's fun.
I don't know.
Dude,
and then
Vin
Diesel's character is like flipping over a car with one arm.
Yeah, who doesn't do that? No. It's something we can all relate to. No.
Oh yeah.
The first one was fantastic. Just from a movie standpoint, it was great. They were Vin and all them were stealing DVDs and VCRs and stuff. It was okay. Now by the 9th one, they're in space. But
yeah, exactly.
The 2 and 3 are kind of the outliers. Some of the people that are invested in the series are there the rest of the way, but they're kind of the outliers. But picks up back and forth, and then by the time Fast 5 shows up, and that's when The Rock shows up, dude, it is just balls to the wall fun. And if you take it too seriously, then yeah, you're just not going to enjoy it because how could this ever happen? Of course not. But it is just nothing but fun. When we were kids, we loved Terminator and Rambo and all these things. None of that stuff could ever happen. And these are modern day.
But that, I think, Sammy, I think that's where the problem is that in those things that like Terminator that could never happen, we are I don't know if we're conditioned, but we know from the beginning that this is 100% sci-fi movie. I think the problem for me is that Fast and Furious stuff, they kind of like they're trying to blur the line between what is real and what is not real, and my brain just doesn't work that way. Which is why, and we've talked about before, I struggled with as I got older. I struggled with the time travel concepts in Back to the Future, and some other time travel movies because it just doesn't work. But I know from the get-go that we have to just
don't take it too seriously.
Yes, 100%. So here's what I'll tell you, Sammy. I said,
but man,
you're gonna cry. You're gonna cry. Here's like I said earlier. I love using IMDb as my go-to for movies information. I have an IMDb page, as I mentioned before.
Yeah, I know.
Yep. Gotta keep promoting myself. But
DGIB.
Fast X has an IMDb rating of 6.3, my man. 6.3. That is.
Then you know what that means?
Not good.
It's 3.7 too low.
Yeah.
3.7 too low.
Definitely. So let's look at the second indicator I like to look at on here. How much money did it make? Because you can have a shitty rating and still make a lot of money.
Oh, they make billions.
Oh yeah, they are making some good loot here. So it cost them a shit ton to make this movie. $340 million estimated budget. They did. Oh my God. They're getting close to doubling up though because it shows gross worldwide sales at 617. So not bad. They're still making good money on it.
Make good money, and they're going to keep making them. I mean,
there's a lot of idiots born every day.
They're going to wrap up the mainline story, but they're going to have spinoffs and all sorts of fun stuff. But dude, I ain't lying. it was just it's not on the same level as Wick and all that fun stuff. Just very different types of action movies, but it is just nothing but lambastic fun. And the dialogue is pretty bad. The writing is pretty rough, but the action and the fun and the personalities, dude, 10 out of 10. And Jason Momoa, 11 out of 10. He very well may be my favorite character in any Fast and Furious movie after this. He was phenomenal.
That is the truth. I included Jason Momoa as a line in one of my stand-up bits. Every male person that I know, which only includes me in this case, would want to probably be Jason Momoa, and if not, maybe be with Jason Momoa. Who knows?
Yeah, well, I'm not that far in love with him.
Just yet.
Maybe The Rock, maybe Dwayne Johnson, but not Momoa yet.
The Rock. The Rock's movies are also horrible. My son has completely shut him off.
Dude, we're about to fight.
So I'm gonna wrap it up with just saying my movies the movie that has got me close to full erection right now. I might censor that out. Flash movie that's coming up. Every time the preview comes on, I have to watch it. I cannot wait. We're like 10 days away or 9 days away.
It looks good.
Coming out. Yeah, I'm hoping they don't flub. I've heard one reviewer give his review on it. He said he was absolutely amazed by what he saw. His only critique was that a little bit of the CGI with the faces on Ezra Miller was a little bit jacked up. But other than that, he said it was absolutely amazing movie. So I am ready for that.
It looks really good, but the problem is, even if it is all that, Michael Keaton comes back as Batman, and I mean that gave me chills when I saw that. That's not a spoiler; it's in the trailer, so I'm fine. But none of their movies have been all that good. The first Wonder Woman was good. But there's been no continuity, and so even if it's good, that's great, but it doesn't pull everything together like the Marvel movies have. Yeah, and that's my problem.
Yeah, and you're 100% right, because I called it out to my son in, I forget which movie, when Superman died, when they were fighting that I don't know what the name of the monster was, but he got sick with the kryptonite and he died. At the end of that movie, the very end, they showed the coffin like shaking, like he was about to come out of the coffin,
right,
on his own. But then in like the next movie, or a couple years later, when they made the Justice League and they had to revive Superman, it was like that coffin scene never happened. Like they didn't know what they were doing, right? Like he didn't revive himself; they had to bring him back.
There's no continuity, and I'm sitting here talking about how I love over-the-top movies, but even these DC ones just it's action porn. It's too much. It's just so nonsensical. I'm not even talking from a realistic standpoint, but it's just how much carnage can we put on a show to cover up any lack of story, and that's been my problem with the DC movies. I want to like them. I was never a Marvel fan growing up. I was a Superman, Batman, even Wonder Woman. She was hot. But
we watched the Justice League.
Yeah, I mean, I love those. Those were my superheroes of choice.
Yep.
But the Marvel movies just did a great job of kind of fleshing out the characters and telling stories. And they're not the deepest stories in the world, but there was something there. These just tried, hey, look at me, I'm a superhero, I'm cool, now watch me blow up the world.
That's not you shopping for insurance.
Whoa. The unexpected can happen to any of us. That's why SelectQuote makes it easy to get the life insurance coverage you need to protect your family for less than $1 a day.
SelectQuote found me a $500,000 policy for only $16 a month.
We could help you save more than 50% on life insurance.
Visit our website, SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
We got to wrap this thing up
and
put it away. Okay. 30 seconds. Last thought. 30 seconds. Go, man.
30 seconds. This weekend, going to Comicon, I'm going to meet Ralph Macchio.
Nice.
And we'll talk about it next week. Ralph Macchio, Rainn Wilson, maybe. Chevy Chase, Christy Brinkley, Randy Quaid, Beverly D'Angelo.
That sounds amazing. I think we'll leave it at that. Hold the friggin' Mayo.
We're kind of going through our schedule and everything. And I kept checking my email for your link.
Screw these more free.
About 6:30 or whatever it was, I looked and I saw your anger face. That face right there.
Yeah. This face.